If you just want to get your yard clean at home without losing your mind, you need the best leaf blower that actually works. Today, I'm showing the best leaf blowers for home use in 2026. Stuff that actually moves leaves off your driveway, patio, and lawn without drama. These are the best leaf blowers for real people who don't want to wrestle cords, batteries, or piles of stuck leaves. I'll show you which ones actually work, which ones are overhyped, and which best leaf blower is worth keeping in your garage. By the end, you'll know exactly which best leaf blower in 2026 makes home cleanup way easier. All right, coming in at number 5 on our best leaf blowers for home use list, we've got the YAWV cordless leaf blower for your Makita 18V. First off, yes, it doesn't include the battery, because apparently that's how they keep it affordable. So if you don't already own a Makita 18V, you're going to be hunting down batteries like they're rare Pokemon. But if you do have one, this little guy actually punches way above its weight. Here's the thing. The motor is brushless, which is fancy talk for it won't die on you mid-job and won't sound like a dying lawnmower. Spinning up to 18,000 RPM, it actually moves leaves instead of just blowing them in a sad little puff like some toys I've tested. You can feel it in your hands, too. It's not one of those awkward, top-heavy blowers that make you question your life choices halfway through the driveway. It has 6 adjustable speeds, which is more than enough for the real world. You've got the low end at 70 mph for delicate stuff like not blowing your neighbor's potted plants into next week, and the high end at 180 mph, which is basically hurricane mode for leaves. I'll be honest, the middle speeds are where you live most of the time. Fast enough to move leaves, slow enough that your wrist doesn't fall off. Now, the thing that really makes this stand out is the 2-in-1 blower and vacuum setup. It's not just a leaf blower, it's a vacuum, a dust collector, and apparently your inflatable pool assistant. The included dust bag and nozzle set mean you can suck up leaves, dirt, and even pet hair without buying a separate vacuum. I tested it on my garage floor and even my car interior. It actually works, which is more than I can say for half the tool-in-ones out there. The inflatable nozzle is a weird little bonus, but hey, if you've ever wrestled with a sleeping bag or an air mattress, you'll appreciate it. Another thing most people ignore is the built-in battery protection. Low voltage and overcurrent safeguards mean it won't fry your Makita battery if you're pushing it hard. That's a relief, because nothing kills the fun faster than watching a $60 battery die in 5 minutes. It's light, too, 1.68 kilograms, so you can actually swing it under bushes and around furniture without thinking you're training for the next strongman competition. Noise level, about 20 decibels, which is basically whisper quiet compared to gas blowers. Your neighbors might actually thank you, or not, because it still blows dirt into their yard if you're not careful. Look, this isn't perfect. You need a Makita battery, so it's not a grab-and-go deal if you're starting from scratch. It's also not going to replace a full-sized backpack gas blower for a football field-sized yard. But for home use, patios, small yards, garages, even quick car cleanups, it's surprisingly capable. Lightweight, multifunctional, and not a complete piece of junk. Honestly, that's enough to earn it the number 5 spot on this list. If you want a leaf blower that feels like it actually does something beyond making noise and scattering leaves, the YAWV is your friend. Just don't expect it to mow your lawn or clean up the apocalypse.
At number 4, we've got the DEWALT 20V Max XR Leaf Blower, the one that really makes you stop and think, okay, DEWALT actually put some thought into this. First off, yes, like most of these high-performance cordless blowers, it's tool only, so no battery or charger included. If you don't already have a DEWALT 20V battery sitting around, this one will cost you extra. But if you do, you're in business. Let's talk numbers, because DEWALT loves numbers. It pushes 450 CFM of air at up to 125 mph. For those of you who just read that and thought, sounds technical, here's the reality. That's enough to clear your driveway, your lawn, and maybe even a small leaf rebellion in the neighbor's yard, if you're feeling generous. The Axial fan design is supposed to maximize airflow in runtime, and honestly, it mostly lives up to that. You can feel the difference when you're clearing damp leaves versus some cheap electric blower that just sputters and laughs at your effort. The motor is brushless, which in real-world terms means it's more efficient, runs cooler, and probably won't quit on you mid-job. You'll notice it on longer runs, too. It won't overheat while you're swearing at a stubborn patch of leaves stuck under your deck. One thing I genuinely like about this blower is that it's lightweight and ergonomic at about 5.4 pounds, which doesn't sound like a lot until you've swung a gas blower for 5 minutes and your arm starts filing a formal complaint. The handle is easy to grip, and the variable trigger with a leaf lock lets you fine-tune exactly how hard you want the air to hit, so you can do delicate stuff like not sending your neighbor's flower pots into orbit, or full-on demolition mode when the leaves are piled high. Noise-wise, it's rated around 62 decibels, which is not whisper quiet, but far less annoying than a gas blower. And honestly, after about 5 minutes, you barely notice it. It's one of those rare blowers that feels powerful without making you feel like you're causing an international incident every time you fire it up. It comes with a concentrator nozzle, which actually works as advertised. You can focus the airflow for precision tasks or tighter spaces. That little thing made cleaning under benches and patio furniture way less of a wrestling match. The catch? Well, besides needing a battery, this isn't going to replace a full-on professional gas blower if you've got a football field of leaves to move. But for home use, medium yards, patios, decks, garages, it's solid, reliable, and doesn't feel like a cheap toy pretending to be serious. It's powerful, reasonably quiet, lightweight, and well-balanced. In short, DEWALT actually made a leaf blower that doesn't make you regret your purchase, which in this market is practically a miracle.
Coming in at number 3 on our list of best leaf blowers for home use is the WORX WG547 20V cordless leaf blower. And this one is like that dependable friend who actually shows up when you need them. Right out of the box, it includes a 2.0 AH battery and charger, so unlike some of the other blowers on this list, you can actually fire it up without hunting for extra batteries. Small victory, but a welcome one. Now, WORX brags about their turbine fan technology, which basically means it pulls in more air and turns it into a surprisingly punchy 360 CFM of airflow at up to 75 mph. In plain English, it moves enough air to actually push leaves into neat piles, instead of scattering them in every direction like a tiny tornado of chaos. I tried it on my driveway, under the porch, even around some hedges, and it handled it all without sputtering. It's not hurricane-level power like the DEWALT, but for a home yard, it's perfectly practical, and that's exactly what most of us need. One thing I like is the 2-speed control. Low speed is tame enough to sweep dust or light debris indoors without making a mess, and high speed is strong enough to take on stubborn leaves that have been lounging around since last fall. No guessing, no hitting the trigger like a mad scientist, you just flip the switch and go. It's also ridiculously lightweight at 4.4 pounds, battery included, which is huge when you're cleaning corners, patios, or under garden furniture. Most handheld blowers get tiring after a few minutes, but this one feels like it was designed by someone who actually understands what it's like to lug a tool around. And at 55 decibels, it's quieter than most corded electrics, so you won't get the neighborhood complaining before you've even finished your driveway. Here's a little bonus WORX sneaks in. It's part of their power share battery system, meaning the same battery runs over 140 other tools and gadgets in the WORX lineup. That's actually a smart play, because suddenly your blower isn't just a blower, it's part of a mini ecosystem of lawn and home tools. Of course, it's not perfect. The 360 CFM airflow is solid for home tasks, but if you've got a giant yard or wet, stubborn leaves, you're going to be making multiple passes. And while the Hyperstream is impressive, it's still not going to replace a full-on gas blower if you're looking for serious raw power. Bottom line, the WORX WG547 is lightweight, reasonably quiet, versatile, and actually usable straight out of the box. It's perfect if you want a cordless leaf blower that just works, moves leaves efficiently, and doesn't make you regret buying it. Reliable, practical, and low drama. That's why it earns the number 3 spot on our list. Sliding in at number 2 on our list of best leaf blowers for home use is the Greenworks 40V cordless Axial leaf blower, and this one is definitely not shy about flexing. Right off the bat, it comes with a 4.0 AH battery and charger, so you're not left scrambling for extra components like with some of the tool-only options. You grab it out of the box, charge it up, and you're basically ready to unleash a leaf-clearing hurricane. The numbers on this thing are impressive. 450 CFM at 120 mph. That's not just marketing fluff. This thing will actually move leaves, dust, and small debris in one pass instead of scattering them like some sad little puff of air. I tested it on my backyard, the driveway, and even around the deck, and it handled everything with surprisingly minimal effort. For a cordless blower, that combination of air volume and speed feels almost like cheating. It's got variable speed plus turbo mode, which sounds like overkill, but it's actually useful. You can dial it down for gentle sweeping or crank it up when leaves have been lounging in your yard since last fall. Turbo mode isn't just a gimmick, it's like flipping the blower into serious business mode, which is great when stubborn debris refuses to budge. Comfort-wise, Greenworks did a decent job. It's lightweight for its power at 4.65 kilograms, and the grip is solid, so even extended cleanup sessions don't leave your arms screaming at you. Compared to some of the cheaper handhelds, this one feels like it was designed by someone who actually considered ergonomics, instead of just tossing a motor in a plastic tube. Noise is rated at 67 decibels, which is noticeable, but nowhere near the headache-inducing roar of gas-powered blowers. Your neighbors might complain, but not violently. Here's the kicker. This is part of Greenworks' 40V ecosystem, which powers over 75 outdoor tools, from mowers to trimmers to chainsaws. So if you're already invested, it's a no-brainer. You can swap batteries between tools instead of buying new ones for each gadget. Plus, it comes with a 3-year tool and battery warranty, which is the kind of confidence you don't often see on electric blowers in this price range. Of course, it's not perfect. At this size, it's a bit heavier than the WORX or YAWV, and if you're trying to handle fine dust or do delicate sweeping indoors, you're probably better off with a smaller blower. Also, for mega yards or seriously wet, sticky leaves, even this powerhouse might need a couple of passes. But for most homeowners, the Greenworks 40V Axial blower hits the sweet spot. Powerful, versatile, built to last, and surprisingly comfortable to use. It's the kind of blower that makes you wonder why you ever dealt with those tiny, underpowered corded models in the first place. And that's why it comfortably earns the number 2 spot on our list.
And finally, claiming the number 1 spot on our list of best leaf blowers for home use is the EGO Power Plus LB7650. If you're into numbers, this blower is basically showing off 765 CFM at up to 200 miles per hour. That's not some leaves might move territory. This is don't stand too close unless you want a leaf avalanche territory. And yes, it's tool only, so you'll need an EGO 56V battery to make it scream, but if you already run the EGO ecosystem, this is basically a dream come true. First impression? It's a heavy hitter power in a surprisingly manageable package. The brushless motor is high efficiency, runs cool, and doesn't sound like it's about to explode, which is nice because I've handled enough cheap blowers that felt like ticking time bombs. The airflow is adjustable with a variable speed dial, giving you anywhere from 260 to 580 CFM for fine control, and there's a turbo button that unleashes the full 765 CFM when you're feeling serious. I tested it on wet leaves, stubborn debris, and even a pile that looked like it had been in my yard since 2019. Let's just say, it didn't flinch. The ergonomics are solid too. It's got a shoulder strap, a tapered nozzle, and a spread nozzle, which might sound minor until you actually hold it for a while. The balance is excellent. Even though it's packing serious power, your arms don't immediately file a formal complaint after 5 minutes. Comfort counts when you're doing a proper yard cleanup, and EGO nailed it here. Battery life is legit. On a 5.0 ARC lithium, you're looking at roughly 15 minutes on turbo, which is enough to blast through stubborn piles, and up to 150 minutes on low. Yes, 2.5 hours of casual leaf-busting bliss. And if you live somewhere that gets a little damp, the weather-resistant construction is a nice touch. I didn't have to worry about a little morning dew killing the blower's electronics. Noise-wise, it's still louder than the little WORX or YAWV units, but that's expected at this level of power. You get serious airflow, you pay for it in volume, and in return, you get a blower that can handle anything from a medium yard to what I'd politely call a leaf apocalypse. Warranty is solid too, 5 years on the tool, 3 years on the battery. That's basically DEWALT territory, which is a strong vote of confidence that Ego isn't just throwing this together to look pretty on the shelf. Downsides? Well, you need a 56V Ego battery, and it's a bit of a beast compared to the lightweight options. If you just want to casually sweep a small patio, this might feel like overkill. But for anyone serious about home yard maintenance, wanting power, runtime, and reliability, the LB7650 is basically untouchable. It's the blower that makes you realize why you even care about leaf blowers in the first place, and that's why it earns the #1 spot. And that's a wrap on the best leaf blowers for home use in 2026. Hopefully now you know which ones actually work and which ones are just hype. Whether you've got a small patio, a medium yard, or just hate piles of leaves, one of these best leaf blowers will make your life way easier. Don't forget to hit like if this helped and drop a comment telling me which best leaf blower you're going to grab this year. Happy leaf blowing!